All right, I wanted to do a follow-up video on the video number 145, which I did 2 videos ago about The Great Taking, David Rogers Webb's book that's kind of catching a lot of attention lately. First of all, there was a lot of views of that video and quite a lot of comments and likes too, so thanks very much for that. Hopefully that video was helpful to viewers. The subject I want to move on to, which basically addresses a type of discomfort, mental discomfort we get from reading a book that tells about a potential concern, a potential thing that could really go very wrong for a lot of people. And of course, we have a response from our brains, right? Which is, what should we do? What is the solution to this problem? And the difficulty here is it is not clear what you should do. It is not clear what the solution is literally to the problem. Sometimes problems like this, there is no solution for the average individual that perfectly fixes everything. And when you're in a situation like this, our brains are they're a little irritating in a way because it's a type of discomfort that you experience as a result. And I'm going to just tell a story about from years ago from my MBA program. I went to an MBA program at a good school, and it had a lot of very intelligent people that were in our classes, and kind of typical, very smart people were in this program. And we were in a corporate finance class, and we were talking about what is the proper discount rate to use for the stock market. And it seems sort of like a very simple question, right? Like, there's a number, tell me what the number is. And the professor was, interestingly, he was very evasive about what is the proper number, and appropriately so, ironically. But during the class, a lot of other students in the classroom, and these are students much more intelligent than I am, many people actually got particularly angry at the professor because he wouldn't tell them the number. And of course, this is an interesting type of agency problem too, because the students just wanted the answer so that they could deal with the problems in their homework and know what the answer was for the test, right? The professor is kind of talking about it more from an academic standpoint, or more of not even academic, but more of like an accurate standpoint, which is it is not clear what the proper discount rate is for the stock market, right? And so it was this sort of mismatch where the students just wanted the freaking answer, and the professor was trying to illustrate that it's not clear what the answer is. And so I tell this story because it's the same problem that we're seeing in The Great Taking, and we see this in lots of other domains. Like, think about what's a safe withdrawal rate from a portfolio of capital. You're retired and you want to think about, okay, what withdrawal rate should I use for my capital so that I'm confident that I'll never run out of money, right? And typically the rule of thumb there is 4%, but that is not an exact number. It's not necessarily the right number. And in fact, over recent years, because interest rates have been very low and market returns have been kind of mediocre to volatile as well. So you could have periods where you have significant drawdowns, and maybe 4% is not the right rule. Maybe you should use a 3% withdrawal rate because just to be more safe, right? Or even lower than that, possibly. And of course, the purpose here is not to tell you what number it is. It's to realize that there isn't a number. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? I hope. So the issue with The Great Taking is this author generously presented us with a problem, with a type of thing to think about that might threaten our direct ownership of the things that we thought we owned, right? And so really what the book does is it doesn't answer the questions about what precisely to do. It gives you some thoughts and some things to think about, but the book does not solve our epistemic discomfort, our intellectual discomfort with having the answer. And so I guess what I'm scratching at here is different kinds of people will deal with epistemic discomfort or knowledge discomfort in different ways. And you tend to find very, very intelligent people and very, very academically gifted people often struggle the most with problems like this. They want the answer. Just tell me what the answer is, right? And the life in the real world, it doesn't work that way, right? You have to sort of imagine different scenarios and ruminate about, okay, my capital is X. What if I lived on a 4% withdrawal rate? Or what if I thought about a 2% withdrawal rate? What does that imply, right? And to kind of work through different scenarios and then think through the second or and third order implications of that. Maybe, okay, a 3% withdrawal rate, I don't have enough capital, I need to get more capital. That would be kind of one avenue this would send you down, right? At a 2% withdrawal rate, I definitely don't have enough capital. And so this sends you down and, okay, I need to save more. I need to really think about my returns going forward and try to avoid losses, etc. Well, with the Great Taking, it's not clear what assets might be taken, or if all of them might be taken, or if this is even something maybe we shouldn't be too worried about. Just sort of hold it out here as a potential worst case scenario. However, and again, this is not clear, right? But the idea is to think about what degree of sovereignty you have over the assets that you own, right? I mean, with for example, my equities that I own, maybe I have a lot less control or sovereignty over them than I realized. But then there's maybe other assets that a person might have where they do have much more sovereignty. So, literally the physical cash that I have in my house or in my wallet, I have much more sovereignty over that. Okay, maybe this is an implication for sort of the nature of the custody relationship I have with my assets. Maybe there's some logic into maybe holding more physical cash, perhaps, or maybe holding more assets that are bearer assets in nature. Of course, with trade-offs, right? And again, we get to yet another level of epistemic discomfort or knowledge discomfort because, well, if I hold more physical cash, then maybe somebody might rob me, for example, right? So you aren't given an answer. You're just given different problems to think about. And of course, it's healthy and a good thing to think through these problems, but you're not going to necessarily be able to resolve all these problems instantly. The whole insight here is to just ruminate on this stuff and not reach right away for a solution. And to understand that maybe the solution might be something that you think through, and it might be like a palette or like a collection of potential ideas to indirectly or solve this problem in different ways at the same time. This is for you to think about and for you to decide. Now, there's one last point I want to make, which is one of the commenters on video 145 about the Great Taking. One commenter said, I sold all my stocks and I'm holding, I forget what he said exactly, but I sold all my stocks was one of the things that he did. And actually I replied to that comment and said that I'm not a fan of all-in, all-out type decisions about, say, equities. Just because you read a book and it made you concerned about something, I don't know that the next decision should be sell all my equities. So this goes to being humble about what the implications are of something that you just learned or some concern that you just learned. Again, we don't know the gravity of this concern. We don't know how significant this concern is, and we don't know to what extent we should act on this concern. So again, you have to kind of, cultivate the ability to hold a concern in your mind and sit with the discomfort of that concern and not necessarily take radical action. I mean, I don't know this commenter and I don't know his situation, so obviously I can't really judge exactly what he did. But I would imagine myself in that position, and I can imagine maybe I would resolve a lot of intellectual discomfort by selling all my equities, because this would now prevent me from experiencing the fear of my stuff being taken, right? But then you think about, okay, what about the lost opportunity cost of these equities? They may not be taken. You may lose out on potential growth of that capital in the future, right? So you've resolved a discomfort, but you've now just produced some other kind of discomfort in the future. And this is really, it's sort of an illusion of resolving discomfort by selling all your equities, right? So this is a theme. It's a little difficult to describe this theme, but I like to use the term epistemic discomfort to sort of catch all of these different nuances all together. But the whole idea is you don't necessarily want to take very large action when you learn about something to worry about, right? You may just want to sit with the idea and think about the things it gets you to think about, right? Sort of meta-think about it a little bit and just sort of think about the different issues that come up, how you might solve them sort of piecemeal or in different ways. But maybe there is no solution, or maybe you just sort of have to wait and a solution will sort of gradually unfold to you as you think about it. But in the meantime, you want to sort of cultivate the ability to tolerate sort of intellectual discomfort or tolerate epistemic discomfort, because that'll stop you from taking rash actions that are maybe not appropriate, although that may reduce that knowledge discomfort. Okay, so this is a little bit more of a philosophical post on the great taking and the nature of what we know, but I want viewers to basically think about these things because they have many other applications and many other life domains. So this is really the purpose of this video, and I hope it sort of helps you make better decisions going forward and basically more incremental decisions going forward. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks so much.